Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
We're studying about intellect, the sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic intellect. In the explanation of sattvic intellect, he is using four things. He says action, renunciation, pravritti, and nivritti, and then karya, akarya, what ought to be done, what ought not to be done, and bhaya, abhaya, what is to be feared and what is not to be feared. Then he gives what is bondage and what is liberation. And in the explanation of rajasic intellect, he says the rajasic intellect is confused between dharma and adharma. What is to be done, what is not to be done. Tamasic intellect is that which understands adharma as dharma and dharma as adharma. If you carefully follow what is being said, you'll find in the definition of sattvic intellect, we are not saying sattvic intellect understands dharma as dharma, adharma as adharma. That is not there at all actually. Sattvic intellect understands the distinction between this, and this. Four things he gives. He's not explaining what is dharma and adharma. Sattvic intellect will understand. That's a very important point. Why it is presented like that, sir? It's because if you have to claim that you have understood dharma, that is possible only when you understand these four aspects. Dharma stands on these four legs. Four dimensions are there for dharma. If you have a clarity with reference to all these four, what are the four? Pravritti and nivritti, the path of action and the path of renunciation. Distinction between that, what is this and what is that, and what is obligation and what is non-obligatory activities, what is obligation and what is not obligation. 2. 3. What is to be feared and what is not to be feared. 4. What is that which leads to bondage and what is that which leads to liberation. What is bondage, what is liberation, what causes bondage, what causes liberation, etc. All that associated understanding, understood that is. When you have clarity about these four dimensions of dharma, that is called a sattvic intellect. Then comes all other aspects. Then we can liberally apply that to many distinct different aspects of life. One is, we'll say it is, what is rich and what is poor, what is success, what is failure, what is health, what is ill health, etc. Then you can go on adding, we can have our own, explanations beyond that. But essentially, when you say I have sattvic intellect, means it just understands only one dimension. Remember, everything is aspects of it. Sattvic intellect understands dharma, adharma clearly. Rajasic intellect is confused. Tamasic intellect understands the opposite. But then what is interesting is, when you ask the question, sir, what is dharma? That's where problem starts. So long as we are not inquiring into what is dharma, there is no problem at all. Right? Now, one of the most difficult things, says Bhishma, in life to understand is what is dharma, he says. Very difficult thing to understand. It has very many dimensions. So complicated it is. That is why who should be deciding what is dharma and adharma, sir? They gave it into the hands of the rishis. They said whatever they say is dharma. Whatever they say. Why, sir? Because for you to study about yourself, now even when you are studying this personality chart, essentially what you require is objectivity to see. The problem is, when we are lacking objectivity, it is difficult for us to see the things as they are, what it is. So whoever has that objectivity has to tell us. So that is why only philosophers can define. Philosopher in the sense I meant the rishis, not in the sense of philosophy, students, college students, philosophy professor. That's not what I mean. The rishis, they have to define. Why? Because only they have that objectivity. And they tell us, if you want to have the clarity of what is dharma, adharma, you need to understand these four aspects. The four padas of dharma. If you understand this four, then you can apply that to rajas and tamas. Then it is easier. So when you sit to inquire into what is action and what is renunciation, tamasic buddhi understands path of action is different, path of renunciation is different. They are two different things. And it understands the path of renunciation to be this, path of this is to be that. When you come to the Rajasic Buddhi, he understands the path of action and the path of renunciation. It looks sometimes renunciation, sometimes action. Certain dimensions I renounce, certain dimensions I act. Now, Sattvic intellect understands what, sir? Sattvic intellect understands it is not renunciation of action, it is renunciation in action. Renunciation is not opposed to action. It is part of action. It is integrated to action. It sees beyond the apparent conflicting idea. It look like, we are playing with words. Detached attachment. I said, what is it? You should learn to practice what, sir? Detached attachment. And then what we carry, we'll say. This is action and renunciation. Pravritti and nivritti. Then it also understands what is obligation, what is non-obligation. What is obligation? Obligation, we have already seen. Obligation means action oblated for realization. That is called obligation. Rajasic intellect is confused. It takes worldly obligations to be primary one. It just gets totally misplaced. The values are misplaced. Tamasic intellect is having a lot of resistance to obligation. It will not perform obligation. I will not do it. I may suffer in my life. I may go through any sorts of problems in life, but I will not change my ways of life. This is tamasic. Because tamasic intellect operates based on what, sir? Convenience. Dedication towards oblating action for the sake of realization is not convenient. Therefore, there will be a lot of resistance towards that. The sattvic intellect understands what is obligation and what is not my obligation. It has a clarity. See, just because somebody comes and gives you an invitation, wedding invitation, it doesn't mean immediately you have to go. You see that? Neighbor's cousin's wedding, the fellow comes and gives a wedding invitation to you. Now there is a dilemma. Fellow asks, should I go or not? Should I go to that wedding reception, or should I come for Vedanta class? Well, what is it that I should be doing now? Because tomorrow what will happen if I don't go? That neighbor will ask me, why you didn't come? He will ask me, I don't know what to do. Therefore, what to do now? Confusion. At the same time, you will have the problem also. If you are not there in the class, I will also ask you, why you didn't come last week to the class? Then immediately you are lost now. I should be doing this, doing that also. Now what to do? Then you try to balance both. You see. And then what you will do? You will go to the wedding and call and tell me, last week I had a headache. That's why I didn't come to the class. So both are solved. You are able to answer your neighbor and you can answer me also. Both the problems are resolved there. One way. Another way is what you do. Now, what you do is not what I'm interested in. What is interesting is that dilemma, confusion. What should I do? Should I do that or should I do this? Should I do that or should I do this? This dilemma is what is referred as Rajasic Buddhi. Don't know what is to be done, what is not to be done. What is my obligation? Where does my obligation stand? Am I obligated to this or to that? Where should be my priority? All this understanding put together, the sattvic intellect is so clear. Rajasic intellect is confused. Tamasic intellect has a lot of resistance towards obligations. Anything as obligation, it has a resistance. That's it. This is with reference to obligations we understand. Then what is fear and what is fearlessness? What is to be feared and what should not be feared? What you should fear in life? Fear in the sense, don't take in the sense of psychology. Phobia. You will start sweating, you will start, something will be happening in your stomach and you will be feeling perspiring. That's not what is referred here. What is referred is, you are seeking that sense of security where you feel secure, where you feel insecure. That is what the question is. Now we think, where is security? For us, security is where, sir? worldly. You don't have that security in God. Security comes to you from where? The righteousness doesn't give you security. We think security comes because of what? Family, people. That's what a fellow says. Why do you want to have a child? In my old age, somebody should be there, no? For what? So when you are old, somebody should be there to do what? To talk to you, to ask you, did you have breakfast? Did you have lunch? As though if the other person is there to ask you, means you are not going to eat. You feel what? See, if that person is there to tell, I feel what? A lot of people have this problem, they stay at home alone, they get scared. You're scared to be with yourself. To stay alone at home, feel scary. So you need always what? Somebody. So you feel secured when people are around you, you feel more secured. More number of people, more security. More number of people come, more confidence you get. More number of people attend the class, we think what? The class is going very good. If the number of people drop, what happens? Imagine now from 90, 95, 97, 98, 99, 100 to suddenly you see one day class only about 25 people sitting. What will happen? You start feeling, am I not teaching well? Start getting the doubt. Now the doubt will not come. Why the doubt is not coming? Consistently I've been hitting that number. There's no problem. Now each one of us have got our own. Suppose if that 100 becomes 200, what will happen to my confidence? Imagine that 200 becomes 20,000. Confidence goes more. I feel what I am speaking about is the truth. Imagine from 20,000, suddenly it drops to 25 people. What happens there? Suddenly we feel what? Security. You feel secured. Where? That's what they say. There are two people who had this idea of public speaking, fear of public speaking. They had. Winston Churchill had fear of public speaking. Over a period of time, he became one of the greatest orators. So people asked him, how did you become such a great orator when you were so scared? He said, I had one mantra. What is that, sir? Before the lecture, before the talk, behind the screen, I would sit in the green room. When I'm sitting in the green room, I repeat to myself, what? Everybody is a fool. Everybody is a fool. Everybody is a fool. Everybody is a fool. 10 times I repeat. I come onto the stage. No fear. This is one man. Then we had Ramatirtha. He was also so scared to talk to the public. Private conversations he can have. There is no problem. The moment you ask him to go onto the stage and talk, he will start jittery, you feel. If he was feeling so scared. So what to do? So how did you overcome, sir? Ramatirtha says, why should I fear? One day I realized, why should I fear? Why? Because what? Who is there? My own self. So he would start every lecture of his as what? My own self in the form of ladies and gentlemen. You see the difference. The first fellow overcame the fear. How? Everybody is a fool. Another fellow also overcome his fear. How? My own self. That is called a Sarcic Intellect. How do you overcome? What you fear, what you should not fear. What is there to fear, people? from where it comes. That doesn't mean you should not have any fear at all, actually. That's not what is referred here. There are certain things you should fear. As a sadhak, you should be scared. Of what? There's only one thing you should be scared of in life. Nothing. Apart from that, there's nothing to fear. The law of karma. That law you should be scared. Nothing should fear, should put you that, give that fear. Our problem is we don't care about that at all. We fear for everything other than that. I'm not getting into the details of what is karma, law of karma and all that. Whatever you think, you get the result. That's it. So, do you worry about what you think? Thoughts just entertain left, right, center without any reference. I'm not talking about the arrival of a thought. I'm talking about entertainment of a thought. That's what Krishna says in the Gita. Dhyayato vishayan pumsa. Musing on the vishaya. Says. Musing on objects. What is musing? Entertaining. The thought will arrive. Why? Because you have got ignorance, you have got your vasanas, your samskaras, your desires, whatever you call it. You will get there as a result of which. That arrival, occurrence of the thought, the striking of the thought, you have no power, you have no control. Whereas you have the perfect option, choice given to you whether to entertain it or not. What do we do, sir? Entertain a thought without any alertness or awareness. So when the thoughts gets entertained without any awareness, alertness is what causes bondage. What causes me bondage, sir? Why should you study about bondage and liberation? The moment you understand bondage and liberation, you understand what causes me bondage when, not after getting bound. Before that bondage can happen, you should understand this will lead me to bondage and avoid it. That is called knowledge. That is called intelligence. That is called buddhi. That's called intellect. That ability to see, the foresight, that ability to see beyond, that capacity is called intellect. You progress into it. Bondage and liberation. Another beautiful concept. What leads you to bondage? What is bondage? What is bondage? That itself we don't understand. And we think bondage is liberation for us. And our idea is what? I see, always our comparison is like this. Imagine a tiger in a cage. And you take the tiger and put the tiger in, we had this Vandalur zoo. Yeah, the zoo, you put across. About, big, circle is there. Pit is there. And then in between there is a land. How big that would be, sir? Half the size of a football ground. You put the tiger there. From the cage, you take the tiger and place the tiger there. What the tiger thinks now? And you take the tiger from there and put him in Banarghatta Park. What is Banarghatta Park, sir? It is a few acres of land. About, it will be what? About 40-50 acres of land it will be. It thinks what? Wow. Freedom. Liberation. Then you have tiger in safari. Then you see tiger in the jungle. Now my question is, which tiger is a real tiger? Where do you see tiger in its pristine glory? Cage, zoo, park, safari, forest, jungle. Where? Where is tiger belongs to actually? He belongs to the jungle. The tragedy is when you take the tiger from the cage and put him in this, he thinks what? I've got freedom. Now we think bondage. Freedom is where? Liberation is where? We think liberation is in acquiring more things. What you don't understand is it is that what you are acquiring is what is possessing you. You are bound by what you have acquired. That is what the bondage is all about. The problem is we never understand that. That perverted understanding is called the tamasic intellect. Sattvic intellect understands clearly what is bondage and what causes that bondage also it understands. What causes bondage is not the objects. It understands, no. Oh, Ishwar, you mean to say that I should not possess anything, therefore I should give up everything. No, he says. Not that. Then you go back to that idea of what's a renunciation. No, it's not that. That's not what is referred. Then what is it? Then what is causing me bondage? That's what Krishna says. Dhyayato vishayan pumsah. Says. What causes bondage? Dhyayato vishaya. This vishaya dhyanam, he says. On a vishaya, what are you doing? Constant thinking. Constantly, consistently, you go on thinking about something again and again and again. Indiscriminately, you think. A free flow of thinking. Now, when I say free flow of thinking, what we mean is only this. What are you doing, sir? You do only two things. When you say, Dhyayato vishayan punsaha, what are you doing? Musing. What do you muse about? You muse about object. On what? On the object. Correct. What are you actually getting the thought? If you observe carefully, you will do only two things in that. Either what he calls beautifully says, Shankara says two things. Says, what are you doing? He says two things only you do with our objects. Shankara Jayanti, today or tomorrow? I think tomorrow. Tomorrow, I suppose. He says, what is that? This Vishaya Dhyana means what? He says, what are you doing there, sir? You do only two things. What? Sobhana Adhyasa or Sukha Adhyasa, he says. What are you doing? You go on admiring a particular quality, particular facet of an object, or the sukha that you can get out of that object. When you say you are thinking indiscriminately about something, what do you mean? Indiscriminate thinking. We are just using the word indiscriminate thinking. Now, what is that indiscriminate thinking? What do you mean by musing? What are you doing when you're musing? It's when you see a car advertisement you see in the paper. That is why they keep on repeating the same ad. Why the newspaper keeps on giving the same ad, or the advertiser keeps on giving the advertisement in the paper? Why? Repeatedly advertisement is given again and again and again. Why? Because every time you see that car, what are you thinking? Oh, beautiful, 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 beautiful. You keep on thinking, it's so nice. It is beautiful. The fact is, it is beautiful. You can't say it is not beautiful. Of course it is. You see that car, you see that engine, you see that. Then what he does, sir? He starts telling you what all the joy of it, how the drive will be. What a pleasant pleasure, man, to drive. The ease with which you can maneuver, the comfort with which you can go. So beautiful it is. What are you doing? Sukha Adhyasa. You are admiring the quality of that, and you are going on imagining and visualizing how it would be, how nice it would be, how good it would be, how good it would be, how good. This is all you do. This type of thinking is what has caused bondage. So Sattvic intellect understands, oh, it's not the object. So don't start criticizing object. That's what many people started doing. They started attacking the object. They said, oh, so what should I do? No, no, no. Then another group of people came in. They said what? Oh, this is what is causing. No. Therefore, what I'm going to do? Only if I see the advertisement, I am getting into trouble. No. From tomorrow, no newspaper. No television. No nothing. Therefore, what? No problems. Only if I see the problem. No. What he doesn't understand. See, it's not seeing that's the problem. It's not the advertisement that is a problem. It's not the newspaper that is the problem. Then what is the problem, sir? Musing means what? Admiring a quality and imagining the sukha, the joy out of that quality. When you are doing these two things constantly, without ever inquiring into the nature of it, the possibility of it, that is called Sarcic intellect. Sattvic intellect, what it does, sir? It understands, oh, this is it. Okay. When you have all these 4 dimensions clear in your mind, that clarity is called Sattvic intellect. That understands what is that I am supposed to do. What am I supposed to do? I am supposed to follow my obligations. What is this, sir? What are you supposed to do, sir? Swadharma. Paradharma is what? Rajasic action. Sattvic action is what? Swadharma activity is called the Sattvic action. Paradharma activity is Rajasic action. Resistance to action is called tamas. So Sattvic intellect understands what? It understands dharma. It also understands what is Swadharma also. Remember, that is important. Dharma, the basic, the definition of it. Out of that, it also understands what is Swadharma and what is Paradharma also. So understanding of Dharma has two aspects. One aspect is these 4. Application dimension of that is another aspect of that is this understanding of Swadharma and Paradharma. What is my dharma? That is called Swadharma. What is my dharma? What is my nature? And what is alien nature? Or to put it to start with that understanding, you can say what is my duty and what is somebody else's duty. What am I supposed to do? What is that somebody else is supposed to be doing? And invariably, all of us get pleasure by doing something else. Isn't it? That is why a sportsman says, cricketer says, whenever we get fatigued, tired for team building exercise, what do? He says what? We play football. Hey, you are a cricketer, no? Then why are you playing football? He says what? No. Only through playing football we can build a team. I say, why can't you build a team playing cricket itself? And you go and ask a fellow who's playing football, he says what? For me, stress buster is what? Go for a long drive. You ask Naren Karthikeyan, he says what? Hey, one competition, I go and come back, 6-7 kgs lost. Because people asked him, why are you looking so? Why all your Formula One drivers all looking so thin? Why? He says we go for one competition, 6-7 kgs we lose. You think so easy or what? You think? He says. Now he says what? Football player says long drive, but the fellow who is a professional driver says what? Driving is stressful for me. For a businessman, doing business is stressful. Attending Vedanta classes, pleasure. That's why you come to Vedanta class. Not that all mumukshus. There's nothing of that sort. It is different. That's why now suddenly you are seeing in all these fellows, all these men now doing household activities, cooking. Now lockdown period, because they know after May 3rd they will not be doing it. And that too when he is doing after 25 days. So much of frustration. What to do, sir? Something I have to do. Therefore, what? Get on and do that activity. This is called what? Wrong understanding. What am I supposed to do? What are you supposed to do? Who says that? The scriptures say that. Like yesterday, Akshaya Tritiya. Fortunately, it was lockdown. So, no big, fuss. Otherwise, every year I see this. Akshaya Tritiya means 1 week before onwards, they will start. This one, that one, buy this gold, buy that one, buy gold. But the scriptures say, Akshaya Tritiya is a day when you are supposed to be giving dhanam. You are supposed to give, not acquire, not buy. What are you supposed to do? It says you are supposed to do dhanam. You are supposed to give on that day. Instead of giving, what are you doing? Acquiring. That is called tamasic buddhi. You see that? What you are supposed to do, you will not do. What you are not supposed to do, you will do with such interest. And all sorts of weird things and all we will do. Now what is that we are doing, sir? Paradharma activity. You are not doing Swadharma at all. The Swadharma, what is it, sir? Sarcic Intellect alone understands what is Swadharma and what is Paradharma. Another fascinating dimension of Sarcic Intellect. Every facet of it is superb. Every dimension of Sarcic Intellect is so interesting and enchanting. Swadharma. What is my Swadharma? Now, Swadharma, when we say, a lot of people take it as, career, consultancy. Because Krishna says in the Gita, Swadharme nidanam shreya. Therefore, what? Do your Swadharma. Correct, sir. What you should do? If you like engineering, do engineering. If you have aptitude, we'll say. Instead of calling it this career consultancy, people use this word. You should have that aptitude for engineering, do engineering. If you have an aptitude for medicine, do medicine. You have an aptitude for this, you do that. I say, is this what Krishna talking about? Because he gives a clue in that same statement. He says, Swadharme nidanam shreyaha, he says. Shreya means what? Go to Kathopanishad. That's where he explains the difference between Shreyas and Preyas. He says, what is higher and what is likable? Preyas means pleasurable. What is pleasant and what is the right thing to be done? That is the prayers is what is pleasant. What is pleasant to you? I like engineering, I do engineering. You are following your desire. You have a desire for that, you are doing it. Now, immediately don't come back and say, so you mean to say that I should do whatever I don't like. That's not what is said here. See, don't jump into action straight away. That is what intellect is. Remember that. Intellect will never jump to conclusions quickly. It will stay with idea for a long period of time. Exactly like all this, people put up this skyscrapers, buildings so tall. Ask them, how do you put it up, man? So fast. Start, how do you do it? Yeah, correct. What? In 3 years we built, but 15 years we plan. You plan for 15 years, but the construction will take only 3 years. Yes, in 18 years it's over actually. Execution is that much. This is the carpenter's formula. Formula of carpenter. What is it, sir? Measure twice, cut once. Measure twice. Don't cut. Now most of us do what? You measure and start the cutting straight away. And then you figure out what you say. No. Halfway through you don't confuse. Sarcic intellect understands what is this is called as Swadharma. What is paradharma? What is alien? What is not? That's not my duty. That's not what I'm supposed to do. See, theoretically you understand. Very easy that is. See, theoretically, if you take scriptures talk about certain things you should not do. Okay, you should not steal. You should not kill. You should not drink. All these things. So you are not doing those things. If you do that, that is called a tamasic action. Okay. Now, rajasic action is what? Is a paradharma activity. What do you mean by that, sir? See, the scriptures gives a lifestyle. What is it, sir? One is grahastha ashrama, another one is sannyas. Okay. Brahmacharya, grihastha, vanaprastha, sannyasa. This is the equation. Now, as a brahmachari, now what should I do? Now, I am not drinking, I am not killing, I am not doing this, that I am not doing. But that fellow says, I am doing something for which I am not qualified. That is called a paradharma. What is it? Without qualification, you take up sannyasa. That is what Arjuna was telling the entire Gita. Trying to convince Krishna and miserably fails, finally agrees to Krishna. Okay, man, I will do. As you say, I will fight, he says. But he tries his best to convince Krishna of what? Not to fight the battle. Escape and take up sannyas. Why Krishna is against it? Huh? Krishna was against it. Why he was against it? You are not qualified for. He is not fit. He is not qualified for it. So, Arjuna taking up sannyasa is paradharma for Arjuna. So, what is Arjuna should be taking up, sir? Taking up this sannyasa, saying that I am going to be practicing meditation, realization and all that is not for Arjuna. Then what is he supposed to do? Practice karma yoga, he says. That is Swadharma for you. What is not according to your aptitude, please. According to your ability. First thing you need to recognize is not my aptitude alone. It is my ability. Am I qualified? What you are qualified for, you do that. Always the things that we are not qualified for will look very interesting and enchanting for us. That's how it appears in life. Now what to do? Mind will project it like that. The Sarcic intellect understands what is that I am supposed to do. What is my nature? What should I do? Now, what should you do? Invariably, you will never have a liking for what you are supposed to be doing in the beginning. Remember that. It is not possible. It's never possible that you will have a liking. No child will ever say that I will want to go to school. No child will say that. Get me educated. No child will say. Every child will say what? Will cry when you put the child into school. It will cry. It will have a resistance. It will not like it. But what is he supposed to do? There is a difference now. That is why we say you can't decide it based on your liking, your attitude. Invariably, for what you are supposed to do in the beginning, there will be resistance. You can't escape from that. Any goal that you want to fix in life, there will be resistance. And particularly when you say that I am going to have the goal of realization, you can be 200% sure there will be a tremendous resistance from you, from your own self. Who had fixed the goal? You fixed the goal. Who wanted to achieve? You wanted to achieve. Who is resisting? You will be resisting. Exactly like who kept the alarm yesterday night? You. Today morning when the alarm rings, who puts the alarm off and continues to sleep? You. Now which you is you now? That you is you or this you is you? You will say what? That you, that I is I sir yesterday, this I is I today. And tomorrow which I you will be? Next moment what I you are going to be? No clue. That is called rajas. You see, there will be resistance, remember. That resistance is stemming from where? It is stemming from your own mind. From where, sir? You have a dislike towards it. Dislike towards means dislike towards the effort that you have to put in to achieve. You detest it. That work that you have to do. You have to slog to get it. Resistance will be there. Mind will resist. That resistance is caused by what? You say there are three things which are causing that resistance. Any resistance for that matter. Any goal you have in life. Any higher goal. When I say goal, what I mean is higher goal. You say that, okay, now I am lacking a lot. I am getting more and more into tamasic actor. I don't want to. So I'm going to work on that. You keep that as a goal and start. Your mind will resist. What are the sources of that resistance? There are three sources of resistance for anything in the world. Primary one is there is a powerful dislike. One. There is a powerful dislike towards something in connection to that. Something connected to that goal. There is a powerful dislike. What is it? If I have to achieve that, I have to do these things. When I say there are 2-3 things I have to do. In that 2-3 things, I like one. I don't like the second and the third. What is it? You got to eat. A lot of people have this, discipline of this, I'm going to be in diet. When you start dieting, you will be given certain things to eat. You will be told not to eat certain things. Now the problem is not more with reference to the things that you are told not to eat. Most of us will have a problem. What, sir? I don't like what I'm supposed to eat. They'll give you 5 things that you are supposed to have. He says you have to eat mushroom. Okay. Now what happens to you? Hey, mushroom I can't have. Delete. This I can't have. Delete. This I can't eat. Hey, that I don't like the taste. Hey, that smell itself is, I don't like. So what to do? 4 items you tick off from the list. You are left out with how many now? Only 3. With the 3 dishes, how long you can continue to have the diet? It's not possible. So what? You will drop that idea of diet itself. From where it started, sir? Because there is a powerful dislike about something there in connection to that goal. 1. 2 is, second dimension is, you are the one who fixed there. I am the one who kept the alarm also. I want to get up. I have a like to wake up early in the morning for whatever reason. For what I am going to get up is a different thing. But the point is, I want to get up in the morning. Along with that, I have another powerful like. Not a dislike now. Now what is it there, sir? I have another contrary powerful like. What is a contrary powerful like? What is opposite of waking up? Sleeping. I have a tremendous liking for sleeping after snooze button. Lot of them say, actually it is true. I tell you, experientially I can tell you this. You wake up, you can try that tomorrow and tell me tomorrow evening. Okay, all of you, try that tomorrow. You get up at 4 o'clock. No matter what time you go to sleep. Wake up at 4 o'clock and you read your notes or anything. You read the book. I can guarantee in 10 minutes you will get sleep. Right? Resist. Okay, don't fall off to sleep. Wait. And then what you do, sir? Continue to study for another 10-15 minutes. In 15-20 minutes, you will feel so sleepy. Then go to sleep. And you compare the quality of your sleep in the night and that sleep. You will see that sleep is superb actually. You will feel more refreshed in that 1 hour sleep. From 4:30 to 5:30 you sleep, or 4:30 to 6 you sleep. You wake up at 6 o'clock. You will feel more fresh than continue your sleep without waking up at 4 o'clock. Night, whatever time you sleep, 10 o'clock to 6 o'clock you sleep one day. One day you wake up at 4 o'clock, stay awake, try to stay awake. You cannot, you will go to sleep, and then you sleep from 4:30 to 6. Break off that half an hour wake, go to sleep. That sleep will look what? Much more deeper, much more sound you will get that sleep. Much better sleep quality you will experience. Snooze. Such a pleasure that is. Such a pleasure to sleep like that. What is it, sir? There is a powerful contrary like. You have a goal of realization. Also, you have a contrary liking towards the world. Now, what will happen? Up and down only. You will run towards God, and then you will run towards world. You will run towards God, you will run towards world. You will run towards God, run towards world. How many times you can keep running like that? Up and down. Physically, you do fitness, at least you will get. But factually, you will get vertigo if you keep doing like that. And you drop. That is called the tamas. Is it? Powerful contrary like. Resistance. The reason for resistance. Then there is a third one also, we say. Is also a reason for not having. What is it, sir? Not enough thought investment have been made. Deposits have not been made. You have not made enough thought deposit. To anything which you have not made enough thought deposit will not have that power in it. That's all. It's simple. The third one, why you are not able to relate to it? You can't relate to it. Why? It's like, the child, as soon as it's born, it dies. Stillborn and all we hear, no? Stillborn baby. You can't say that mother is so happy about it. The father is so happy about it. It's not like that. They feel sad. Compare that to the child which is there after about 5, 6 years, 7, 8 years, 12, 13, it dies. It's playing something, it just went somewhere, it jumped and it fell into something and died. Now tell me, where the sadness is more? The relationship has not changed. Mother-child only. Parent-child only relationship is. But is the first case more sadness or second case more sadness? The second case will experience much more sadness than the first one. Why? What's the reason? Relationship has been maintained for a period of time. What are you doing all the time, sir? All the time you have been doing what? Only one thing, thought investment. Deposits have been made. Lot of deposits, deposit. Every interaction you have been having with that child, every thought that you had entertained with reference to that child is a strong thought deposit. Now I ask you this question. How many thoughts you have deposited with reference to realization? All that you have done is what? My child, my child, my child, my child. Correct? This is my child, this is my daughter, this is my daughter, my daughter, my daughter, my daughter. You go somewhere, you see something, you will say what immediately? Oh, I will buy this for my daughter. That she will not like. That I'll get, this I'll get, this I'll do, that I will do. This I'm doing it for her, that I'm doing it for her. What I will happen to her? All the time, every thought that you have entertained only with reference to what? My daughter, my daughter, my daughter. It's just a thought, right? Now the question is, with reference to the goal of realization, how many thought deposits you have made? If you have not made enough thought deposits, you can't relate to it. There is no possibility of relation. You see, that's what we will be feeling, a lot of resistance. There is a resistance towards the goal of realization. Why? There are 3 reasons. 1, not enough thoughts being deposited. 2, a powerful dislike or a powerful contrary like. Only these 3, nothing else. Anything you want to do in life, you want to take up, only 3 chances are there in that. There's nothing more than this. Now, Swadharma means a field of action where I will have least resistance. What if I do in life, there will be least resistance within me. That field is called, Swadharma. Then we will take, field means what? Don't take immediately career. Field of means immediately don't take it as career. Field means there are 3 fields in our life. Body, mind, intellect. 3 fields are there. In that field, in which field there is, what if you do in that particular field, there will be least resistance? That is the question. So Dharma analysis means this is what you are supposed to do. What is it, sir? Least resistance means what? From where resistance comes. Now, what if I do at the mental level, intellectual level, physical, body level? Physical level where there is a least resistance possibility, sir. Keeping all factors the same, only when you perform obligatory actions, there will be least resistance. Physical. Intellectually, when will you have least resistance, sir? Only when you are doing reflection, there will be least resistance. Least resistance action intellectually is reflection. Anything you do intellectually is not, there will be resistance. Only in reflection there will not be much of resistance. But the problem is we have never done those things. Therefore, if you say from tomorrow I'm going to do it, you will find a difficulty. That is why I said explain first the idea of resistance. Then comes the third aspect. Sir, at the mind level, what is it? Mind level, what are you having? Mind means what, sir? Desires. Mind has only desires in it, nothing else. Amongst the desires, which desire, if you pursue, there is a possibility of a least resistance? That is a question. Now you have many desires. Okay. It's not that you are having only one desire. You have many desires. The moment you say many, there is always a possibility of contrary, isn't it? One will go in that direction, one will go in that direction, one will go in this direction. So none of them will be moving in, all that will not be moving in the same direction. Each one will move in one direction only. Many desires you have. Amongst the desires, you have to choose a field. This is where many people thought, what I should do? Oh, I have a desire for engineering, let me do engineering. This is where the mistake came into picture. They thought when they said desire, no, they didn't mean this. What they are talking about is your desires were classified into two categories. Your values were classified into two categories. What do you want? There are two things. Your desires are of two types. One is a higher desire, another one is a lower desire. Evolutionary desires and devolutionary desires. Internal desires, external desires. Extroverted desire, introverted desire. Worldly desires and spiritual desires. Whatever word you want to use, you use. It's just a question of terminology. That's about it. But essentially it means there are two. One is moving upwards, one is moving downwards. That's why these people took up this fire as a representative. Worship. Fire has a tendency, if you see. Anywhere you keep that flame, right? You can turn the matchstick upside down. The flame will be shooting towards what? A higher. Water has a tendency, what, sir? To flow down. Water flows down. Fire shoots up. Now I have to promote which desire? The higher desire I have to promote. To remind that they took an external symbol called a fire. Immediately our fellow started interpreting. In Himalayas, it will be so cold as though everybody is inside the cave only there. You know, they have no other job or what? They know how to get fire within their body. It's nothing extraordinary. These things are all taught now. Now you know this yoga schools and all. If you go, they teach you. Do one type of pranayama for about 15 minutes. Your body temperature will go up. It doesn't matter what is the external thing. They don't need to be keeping fire. Our fellows interpret everything only like this. No. It has nothing to do with the cold, and the cold environment in Himalayas has caused them to use fire. No. It has a very, very deeper significance. Fire shoots up always. Of course, there are other aspects. I'm not going to other things. Since these two types of desires came in, I'm just referring it. That's about it. Fire has other things. We'll see that in some other context. Now, the idea of Swadharma is at the level of body, what I'm supposed to do, sir, perform obligatory action. Swadharma. Mind level, what am I supposed to do? Promote higher desires. Now, as you are promoting higher desires, higher desire, higher desire, higher desire, higher desire, higher desire, higher desire, finally, what will happen, sir? There will not be many desires, there will be only one desire. Because always higher and lower is in comparison, isn't it? With reference to that, this is higher. With reference to this is lower. So it is a reference point. So you keep on going. After that, what happens? Let us go there first and then discuss about it. Okay. Right now, don't ask me, sir, after that, what will happen? Don't worry about it. Right now, understand where you are. Right now, what you have to understand is this is what our equation is. I always compare this, why the field of least resistance. That is the reference point of Swadharma. How do you say that Swadharma field is always of least resistance, sir? That is where we study Dharma. What is Dharma? My nature. When I am moving towards my nature, how can there be any resistance? When I am moving away from my nature only, there will be resistance. When I am moving away from only this. When I am moving towards that, where is the possibility of it? So that's how we derive this idea. Then at the intellectual level, what are they supposed to do? Intellect has very many things to do, right? But of all the things, which activity, when the intellect is, there is a least resistance, that is Swadharma. What is to be done right now, sir? Don't build your intelligence. How do you do that, sir? Reflection. Through reflection alone, you can build. So doing reflection becomes, mananam becomes least resistance. Once you reach there, what will happen, sir? Then nididhyasana becomes a least resistance activity comparison to manana. So at that point of time, which is paradharma, what is swadharma, sir? Intellectually, at that stage, nididhyasana will become swadharma, mananam will become paradharma. So intellectually, what are you supposed to do right now, sir? Reflection, swadharma. Desire wise, what are mental, mind level, desire level, what are you supposed to do? Promote higher. Even if you take it as emotions, there are base emotions, there are noble emotions. Promote noble emotions. Don't promote your gross base emotions. Then you are practicing, you are in the field of Swadharma. Action wise, what are you doing? Expressions. Let all your expressions be with reference to obligation. You are in the field of Swadharma. Sarcic intellect understands this. And it also understands the opposite of it. What is it? Paradharma. We'll see tomorrow. Hari Om.